And welcome back. President Donald Trump is traveling to Capitol Hill in hopes of persuading the Republican vote for the appeal of Obamacare. Instead, he bluntly told House Republicans behind closed doors that they may lose their seats if the bill fails and the entire GOP will disappear. Also, FBI Director James Comey stated if there's no evidence of wiretapping and that the FBI is doing an investigation on the Trump's possible ties to Russia during the 2027 presidential election. Now, here first to talk about the topic of Comey's comments is Lee Bynes, owner of RetroVision Media, and he's also our political and media analyst. And good to have you here.
Good to be here.
As we're talking right now, of course, we hear FBI Director James Comey coming out and saying there is an investigation. And of course, we know that Comey is at the center of the initial email controversy with Senator Hillary Clinton, or I should say Secretary of State Clinton. Talk to us a little bit about Comey's comments and what we can read into these.
Well, you know what, historically speaking, I think most people understand that the FBI rarely would open up this wide to let people know that there's an investigation going on. The strongest element that the law enforcement has is the element of surprise. But he said during the hearings that these were unprecedented, unusual circumstances, and that's the reason why he went so far as to say what was going on with regards to the investigation. Concerning the issue with regards to the so-called wiretapping, the president is pretty much on an island right now. I think just about everybody in the intelligence community, people in his own party, are walking away from it, and the only person left still carrying water for this man is Sean Spicer, the White House spokesman. And it's really getting serious right now because the president is literally bleeding credibility.
What is the mood in Washington, particularly around the White House, given the fact that you have these swirling investigations going on, and still to this day we've got the tax returns that were actually released, or 2005 tax returns that were actually released, and that was released on a media outlet. That was the topic of conversation. How much is all of this actually affecting the actual governing of our country?
Well, you know, if you set aside all of the missteps up until now, the stories about the tweeting and stuff that's got him in trouble, and just focus on what happened Monday with regards to the announcement of the investigation, what Comey did that made this thing so surprising and scary, quite frankly, is the fact that he didn't mention any names specifically. So he left it out there that pretty much anybody that was in contact with Donald Trump throughout the course of his campaign could be a suspect. I don't know if anybody has any idea what it's like to be under the gun of the FBI, but it's very difficult to live a normal life when you have that kind of weight on you. To lead a country with these type of investigations going on, swirling around behind the scenes, it's going to be very difficult for him to move forward on any of his legislative activities.
I want to, since we don't have the video clip, I'll give you the actual comment that came from Comey. It says, quote, "As you know, our practice is not to confirm the existence of ongoing investigations, especially those investigations that involve classified matters. But in unusual circumstances where it is in the public interest, it may be appropriate to do so as the Justice Department policies recognize. This is one of those circumstances," Comey told the House Intelligence Committee.
And in doing so, as a matter of fact, that forced his hand, or that forced the hand of the media and a lot of people to go out there and start searching to find the fire that was developing all of this smoke. And the name that first came up right now is Paul Manafort, and he was Trump's campaign manager at that time from May through August. Now, the reason why this is so important is because Manafort's name has now been connected to Viktor Yanukovych. Viktor Yanukovych is the former president of the Ukraine. He's been linked to this man. Viktor Yanukovych was run out of Ukraine, and that's when it left the opening for Vladimir Putin to come in and take Crimea back in the first place. And so one of the reasons why he was ran out of Ukraine, and he is now in exile in Russia right now, is because he was known for corruption, vote rigging, police brutality to maintain his stay in Ukraine. Once he lost hold on that country, he made a beeline for Russia, and Russia's been hiding him out ever since.
Let me do this. Let's take a quick break.
Sure.
Come back. I've got J.C. Polanco, who's here with us. He'll join us in studio talking more about this, as well as President Trump's latest comment to House Republicans saying they could lose their seats in the midterm election. Stay with us. We're coming right back with more right after this.